Okay, so here is this is past life family um, and present life family when there's like an intersection of connections. Family is way more karmic, way more karmic than than just meeting somebody as a friend or a spouse. Spouse can be a little bit more intense, and they can really like in my last video, I talked about my ex-husband, how I was able to heal the wound between us from the 1800s in Louisiana, and so but family you are born into, so your soul chooses for you to be connected to your family members for very, very specific reasons. And I'm going to talk a little bit about some of my trauma in my past. Um, and I also just want to give a trigger warning about childhood trauma. This might be a little bit hard for you. If you have children present, you may not want them to be present for this video. Okay. Um, my mother's family were actually descendant from both the Salem witches and the Drake family that came from Wales and founded Jamestown. And my mom's actually my great grandmother, who I write under her name. She's actually pretty famous in American history. But my father's side is they are very they're very dark. They do funerals. They do like they manage cemeteries. They some mortician assistants and a morgue. They run morgues. Um, they deal with ancestors and death, and a lot of them are either warriors or cops. Like there's a lot of darkness. My dad's family is both from Ireland and Bavaria in Germany. And my great grandmother on my father's side is who I also have added into my pen name for my writing. So these bloodlines are very prominent. So the witch wound from the Salem witches and the Bavarian wound of the trauma from Bavaria is very strong in my family history. Um, when I was about 13 years old, I had a nightmare about my father, and I was in it was probably like late 1400s. I was being tortured in some dungeon somewhere in Germany, and he chopped off my hands, and as part of my punishment, because I was a midwife and I was a healer, and that was part of the torture. And then when I was burned as a witch, they hung my hands around my neck, and the man who looked just like my father, acted just like him, the man who was my inquisitor was my father. And in this lifetime, um, my father was born obsessed with Germany, our German heritage, and then had radical evangelical Christian conversion, became a radical evangelical, incredibly violent, has a long history with substance abuse, and has been, subsequently, I got him arrested back in the 90s. So there's some darkness. There is some severe darkness in between me and my father, but it grows even deeper than this. So I had that death in Germany, in Bavaria, and I had that vision of the Inquisition. But I also had so many dreams about Dachau. Even when I was a little kid, I was obsessed about Nazi Germany and Dachau, and I had dreams. And then I started having dreams about people who were in Dachau, and I researched them, and I was like, oh my gosh. So I was like, maybe I was in Dachau. And so I ended up doing a deep dive of everything I did, like everything I remembered from my last lifetime, which was I died in, what was it, 1944, right before Dachau was, the year before Dachau was liberated. I died in 1944. I was hung. I was a French resistance spy. I was a dancer. I went under the name Solange, and I was a spy for both French resistance and British intelligence. I was caught in southern France and then transferred to Dachau, and I hung with, I think, like 5 or 6 other women. And I was hung by the demon of Dachau. Now, here's the wild thing. I researched the lineage of the guy who hung me in my last lifetime. He was born in the same town that my father's family comes from in northern Germany. So there's an ancestral connection. And several times in my life, my father did try to kill me. In fact, the last time I saw him was at my grandfather's funeral, and he saw my pagan tattoos and wanted to carve them off of my skin, to which we had to get family members involved, and it was scary, and he just goes crazy around me. So it's like he's possessed with this this person who wants to murder me. But he's not just possessed with the enemy, he's possessed with my memory, because I have so many memories of being burned at the stake, of being hung in, by Nazis. It is such a trauma in my soul that this is my lifetime, that I am supposed to heal that. And I've prayed a lot to my goddesses, and I have really like meditated a lot on this, and I'm still unraveling it. I have no contact with my family whatsoever. I also, I refuse to go visit Dachau. I'm not interested in going back to relive that past. But what I am focused on is learning how to make peace with the past, to accept it, that it was a part of my lives, and that I have a very severe witch wound, like a very, very severe witch wound, in which I have used my intuition and my spiritual gifts in the past, and I have paid dearly for it. And so my goal in healing that, it isn't to make things right with my father, or to go to Germany, or to get involved in anti-Nazi campaigns, or even to be political. My healing is me expressing my gifts to the world, which is writing about magic, making videos like this, helping every person who comes to me. And it's pretty amazing. Like throughout my life, I am amazed how many people just find me. I don't advertise being a shaman. I don't advertise to helping others. I did for like a couple years. I had an online business where I was a consultant, but it's really amazing. I just find people in the street who need help, and I give help, and I use my gifts to help people along the way. And that is how I heal my wound. And that is how my goddesses have told me how I can heal my wound. Not by being aggressive and fighting the past, but by actually supporting me. And this is the key. When you have a witch wound, when you have a persecution wound, your goal is to figure out how to safely shine. That is it. Your goal is learn how to safely shine, how to live safely, how to have healthy, happy relationships, how to surround yourself with love and walk away from the nightmare, because fighting it only continues that nightmare. And I'm going to continue this in the next video, because this is a very big lesson, and I see people falling into this trap a lot when they have past life stuff. So the next one will be quite dark. So I'm going to put trigger warnings on both of these.